Hello and welcome back to part two. It's amazing. I hope you enjoyed last week's part one. So now on with part two for more revelations with the fantastic Neville Wright. Here we are.
Expanding Your Mind with Grant Hicks, a boundary-breaking show designed to dissect subjects such as spirituality, past lives, hypnosis, the esoteric, ancient history, the universe, energy, extraterrestrials, conspiracies, the earth, and more.
There are people who
See through it.
have got an agenda to make life hell for people.
That's right. Yeah, we were speaking about this the other day about the last 3 years, how it's turned the world upside down, back to front. And,
Yeah, well, you know, when they said build back, that's what I said, build back better. That's yeah. Back to that question. You knew on that first day because you heard our Prime Minister say it, and you knew it was a scam because the Prime Minister of Australia said, "Oh," and then the one from Canada, and then the one, and they all said the same thing. And then I thought, well, that's a bit strange. Why are they using the same words? Why is it different? Why is it the same all over? And then next week it was a different thing, a different saying, and everyone said it. And the next week was a different one. What are they trying to do? Scare the? Well, I think it was. I think one of these texts that come out yesterday was scare the pants off people, and it really did.
Yeah.
Scare the face mask on to stop them talking.
That's it. And do you know what date? Do you know what date the mask wearing came out in the UK? A lot of people can't remember. Well, don't research. Don't research.
It's down here somewhere.
24th of July. So if you look at the date, it's 24/7. And they announced it. They announced it. What was it? 10 days beforehand. So, on this date, this is when it's coming in. It's like, well, if it's such a killer, why is it not in straight away? But
there is a lot of things.
Well, we know they didn't work anyway.
That a lot of things that the dates.
Yeah. Oh yes. Oh yeah. The numerology. Jamaica. A lot of people don't know about.
Yeah.
It is everything to do with dates. So how comes you saw through it then, where the majority of the world didn't?
Well, I've always thought about business. Can we do it? Can we do it quicker? Can we do it easier? Do we have to do it at all? Whatever the job was.
Okay.
Can we do it more profitable, but the customer pays the same or less? All those things go through your head when you're doing any kind of construction, when you're doing any kind of deal, when you're in the retail business. All that goes through your head. Why are you doing things that don't need to be done? And can you do any of the things that need to be done? Can you do them quicker, easier, automation, whatever it may be? Or can we stop it in the first place? You know, you get litter all over the place, but you don't see the litter bins, and if you do see them, they're overflowing. So therefore, it goes back to the local council making sure they've got enough staff to pick the bins up. Maybe they need bigger bins. Maybe they need trucks to pick them up, and not people themselves. And it all goes back to how and why and why. You know, and then do something about it. Do your risk assessment, your method statement, and then set it in stone and start again. Yeah. And then 10 minutes later, when it all goes wrong, do it again and again and again until you get it perfect. So why did I see through it? Well, there was a couple of people that had got vulnerable relatives, and they had to go off for 12 weeks, apparently, and they get 80% of the wages. Well, we didn't do that because I thought it wasn't fair. If they could live on 80% of the wages, then they should be on 80% of the wages. So we made it up to 100%. The rest of them, who's working outside, I think the sites went off for a couple of weeks, but I wasn't in favour of that. But the people that I work with, we just carried on working after like 3 days, because I knew after 3 days it was a dreadful scam. Nothing, it's the worst scam in history, I thought, after 3 days. That's, I couldn't be paying people or laying them off. Without having some production. So, and there was one big thing again. We was losing on one of our sites with 200 tenants. We were losing £100 a day, and we had been for years, because we'd got a massive problem with water leakage.
Right.
And if we shut the site down for any length of time, 200 people wouldn't have water. So we had to just say, it's one of those things, we know it's happening, but we can't trace it, because the pipes are from the 1940s.
Wow.
6 foot underground metal. So anyway, this was a great idea, because everybody stopped, everybody went, it's all commercial, everybody went, and wasn't allowed on site. So we dug in that time, I think it's 12 weeks, we dug 14 massive holes, cut the pipes, threaded new plastic pipes through, and repiped the whole lot. And these holes were like 8 foot by 8 foot, and some of them were 8 foot deep. And there was 4 of us working in close proximity in those. We didn't have masks. A couple of lads brought masks for a start, but within an hour they couldn't wear them. And that was it. So the day everybody came back was the day we just finished, and we was filling the holes in. So that cost us £50,000 to do that job, but we're saving. It was costing us £700 a week. Not to do the job. So, but it was, so that was all right. So that was a gain, but then after the first couple of days, they said you could only go 5 miles, I think, around this district, but 3 miles in other districts. Well, luckily, we've got £100 million worth of industrial property within that 5 miles. Now, if it's 3 miles, we wouldn't. And I thought to myself, well, what if the army come and block the roads off around Peterborough, which is going to happen sooner or later? We wouldn't be able to get to those properties that had all been vacated. And we needed to do security checks on them and keep an eye on them. So we could see that it was so wrong what they did. And then you investigate what a pandemic is, and you go back to 2012 when they changed the meaning of a pandemic, and you realise it's all fake. And then you go to the masks. We're used to using masks in an industrial environment, but I've never used a mask that's in this environment.
And surgical masks.
Well, people used to say to me, family and friends, and people used to say, yeah, but the surgeons have them. I go, yeah, because they're spit and blood masks. They don't want to spit in the wound. I'm talking about clean surgery. I'm not talking about dirty surgery, because it's 2 different things. Like guts and stuff like that. I'm talking about just cuts and problems with bones and tissue. So on that kind of clean surgery, they would use one of these masks. Somebody would put it on them. They would just pinch it, and that would be it. 2 hours, and then throw it away. They wouldn't touch it. But the thing is, it's to stop any fluids coming out of your nose and your mouth going into the operational area, and it's to stop if you cut a blood vessel and it spurts up. It's to stop it getting in your, inside you. So that's all that's for. And then you go, well, okay. So when people breathe, I mean, this is a ridiculous thing on television. Stay 6'6" apart, but if you can't, stay 3'3". No, stay 2 meters apart, but if you can't, stay a meter. What? What? When it takes 5 minutes, or it takes about 2 minutes actually to do some research, and it goes, how far does breath go? Well, normal breath goes 6 meters, and if you cough, it will go 9 meters or 8 meters. So it's like. And then I put an advert up of all these people trying the masks, and smoking and then see where
That's
the
it.
smoke
That's right. And a winter time, the breath is coming out. Yeah.
But they hadn't got them on right. They hadn't got the proper mass or anything, and the mass wasn't doing any good. And then you realise that all these people who were scared, what was they doing queuing up, going into a grocery shop? You know, if they could zap the track and trace with their phone, then they can order offline. You know, £29 worth of groceries, and you get it for free, I think. So why would you ever go into a shop?
Yeah.
And then you come to what shops are open and what shops are closed.
Yeah.
Well, the mum and dad shop that sells cards was closed and doing them out of business. And the Tesco's that do sell cards, you know, they were all right.
That's it.
But instead of the mum and dad shops all going protesting and rioting in the streets, which I would imagine they would have done, then there was given a backhander of 10 grand to shut their mouths, to keep quiet.
Yeah, and they had to sign something as well, didn't they?
And so it goes on.
Bribery, bribery, bribery.
Then we've got the police, and there was a couple of PCOs coming round some of our units. And I remember a guy, he was crying on the phone, he was to me. He was a sprayer, and got halfway through spraying some of his car. And they was going to pay him in a few days, and that's what he needed for his money for that week. And then if he didn't shut that business now, this instant, they would fine him £10,000. And he was crying, saying, "What do I do, Neville? What do I do? I've got this car half sprayed." And I said, "Carry on. Tell them to piss off, because the PCOs, they've got no authority, they've got no education, and they don't know what they're talking about." So he finished his car, and then he shut it down. He did, which is ridiculous.
It is. Well, this is the thing. They shut all the gyms down, so all the people working healthy, but they opened up McDonald's. It's like, and the queues everywhere for McDonald's. It's like, wow.
I don't know why that I was a lone person shouting this, you know, and nobody taking any notice. I did put quite a few adverts in blogs on my website, you know, saying that there's two queues. One had got 1 million people in, and one had got one person in, you know, and different things like that. But it was ridiculous, because you couldn't go in a gym, but you could go and buy a bike. But if you took your sandwiches and a flask on the bike, you get fined £200 because you're going to have a picnic. You know, they assumed you was going to have a picnic. You couldn't go for a walk in the park or sit there. You could go for a walk in the park for an hour a day, but you couldn't sit down because the benches have got this stupid tape on them. There was that, protect the elderly. Well, no, let them sit down, get some fresh air. It was like all wrong. And then you go to the nursing homes, and I'm not going to say anything because about the nursing homes, about what happened, because the papers are full of it. I do believe it's genocide. I do believe there'll be like type 2 Nuremberg trials, and I do believe a lot of people will go to jail for a long time after what happened. But you've got an old person who's 90 and you can only see them from the window, but if they're bedridden, you can't go and see them. What kind of humanity is that? What kind of people do that? Because that person has got nobody, they'll die quicker.
Absolutely horrific.
What's he going to do? What are they going to do? Are a 50, 60-year-old or 60, 70-year-old going to catch something off the 90-year-old? Why are they going to give it to somebody? Well, if you give it to a 90-year-old, you know, well, you know where they're going anyway, because their life expectancy is like 82 or whatever. The people who were dying were 83 plus. So they was outliving, you know. But I did phone some undertakers because I thought they would be wanting more land, more refrigeration, more boxes and stuff like that. And apart from when they was taking the bodies out of the nursing homes, it was just the same.
Yeah.
So 21 was just the same.
So how comes they can lie, blatantly lie on such a mass scale and get away with it? All these parties they're having, and all the stuff.
Yeah, the lying is one thing, but the believing is another.
Hmm.
So you go back to this 80 years of being like the frog who's just soaking up in nice water, cool water, believing that the world is truthful and everybody is good, and they wouldn't lie, because why would they? Because they're looking after us and we voted them in and all that kind of stuff. I believe right from the start, if it was true that the people in charge should have the
jabs,
medicine jabs first.
Yeah.
Because I don't want my old parent having a jab because he or she had got no say in the running of the country and the saving of the majority. Yeah. So I would have gone to the people who's in charge and said, we need you. You run the country, but you get jabbed first, all 600 of you. And then everybody in the town hall who's making the decisions of when they're going to collect the dustbins and all that kind of stuff, if you believe it, you have the jab first. Yeah. Don't come to somebody like me who's over 70 and say, you are vulnerable. Don't tell me what I am. Don't tell me that I'm vulnerable just because I'm my age. Yeah. It's like, it's dreadful. You're 70 and you're vulnerable. No, I'm not. And then.
But Neville, people believe that. People of that age, because they're just, if they're not an entrepreneur, they're sitting down watching the TV, the old BBC 24/7, and they're believing it wholeheartedly. I'm vulnerable. Oh, I'm vulnerable. Yeah, you are in the head.
That's and if you used to tell people they didn't believe you because they'd seen it on television, and those three stooges that every night at 5 o'clock would announce the amount of people that's died. I didn't want to know. I used to shout at the television. I don't often watch telly, and I don't watch it now, but because that's put paid to it. Yeah. But I don't want to know how many's died today. I want to know in comparison to the last 5 years on this day or this month, how many people died over the last 20 years on this day. Yeah. This month. And then we have a true picture. Not there's 586 people died today, because 588 people could have died last year. It's like they're so you wouldn't scare. You shouldn't scare your children like that. Yeah. You shouldn't scare people. And it's sunk right in, and they're brainwashed and brainwashed and brainwashed. So
and at the time that the hospitals, all the ambulances was just still sitting at the hospitals, not going around everywhere, apart from the ones that were driving around the towns with their sirens and lights on, pretending there was.
I went in at the height of it as emergency. What do they call that? Emergency. Oh, it's emergency department. Yeah. So I sat there. I was the only person there for 2 hours. Nothing.
Yeah.
And there was people taking. I took a film. I did, but I didn't publish it.
Yeah.
Because I was going to publish it, and then I saw somebody had been fined for publishing.
That woman. Yeah, the woman who was filming it in the hospitals said, "Look, the ambulance driver's having a cup of tea. Look at them." Yeah. And the police turned up at her house.
Yeah, and this is people was banging on pots. I used to hear them on a Wednesday night, and a lot of people I know. Mm-hmm. Bang, 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 bang. Why? Yeah. What are you doing it for? Well, we're showing solidarity with the NHS. No, they're not showing solidarity with the NHS now because there's a war going on there. But the thing is, I go, well, I'm not going to. Why would I bang on a pot, waste my time? They need more money.
Yeah.
Give them a wage rise. Because if they are in the front line, if they are doing what you say they're doing, and I believe they were doing, certain things, then pay them for it. Don't bang on a bloody pot.
Yeah.
It's useless. You're not doing anybody any good, only stirring up fear. And then we had the adverts on TikTok or whatever it was, Facebook, where you'd got all the not all the surgeons, but surgeons and nurses dancing, making cardboard television to put on their head, making stupid things and popping in and out of those cubicles.
It's making a mockery.
That was absolutely stupid, because it degraded those people who was in the front line. It degraded. I don't believe any of those people in the front line trying to save lives would ever have the energy to go in front of a film crew and to make their dance moves, you know.
Yeah.
It's just too daft to laugh at. All of those people were actors. None of them. I've been in the front line when the shit has hit the fan for 6 weeks, where you are bombarded with shit on 12 hours a day, and it's like every day. If anybody had come and said, do you want to, I don't want to say nothing, I'm just too busy helping people. And when you help people, you haven't got time to dance or make cardboard televisions or whatever stupid things that they was doing. And it was just so wrong in the way that was portrayed. There's thousands of things out.
And then you had all the doctors that were speaking out and saying, this is a hoax, this is this, you know, this is wrong, this is sidelined, lost your job, that's it, you're gone. All their career they've built up over the decades, gone.
Yeah. Just
for speaking out, speaking the truth.
Yes.
You know?
Are we talking about the pandemic? Or are we talking about business?
Mixture of both. But mind you, I suppose what they're doing does affect business, doesn't it? It affects people's business.
It is affect,
I want to ask you this question, right, which I think is quite important, right, for somebody in your position, is that they want to bring in this cashless society, right, and they want to limit. They want to wipe out everyone's bank accounts. And it's happened right now in South Africa, Nigeria, Kenya. They've done it now. It's not on the news where they've wiped people's accounts out.
No.
It's rioting over there. There's wars, everything right this second, and it's not anywhere. Yeah. So what would happen if they went, right, we're wiping everything out and you've got a 20 grand limit, but you've got to spend it in this amount of time. If you don't, we're going to wipe that out. I mean, it's, and who owns the company? Who's doing it? Infosys? Go on. What's his name? What's the Prime Minister's name? Rishi Sunak. And his father-in-law own Infosys. They own it.
I don't know what his name is, but I know. I don't believe he should be Prime Minister.
No,
I don't. I can't. He can't. He can't come down to my level and understand me, and understand what I need, want, hope, all my hopes and dreams and wants and needs of a citizen who's paid £50 million in taxes over the last few years. Wow. He doesn't understand that, you know, normal people. He doesn't. Anyway, so I don't know what the question was.
What would you do if that, you know, should they bring in a cashless society? I mean, a lot of people are fighting it.
And majority are not fighting it. Majority think it's brilliant.
Oh,
and why did they bring, when they brought the new notes out?
Yeah,
they brought them out so that people couldn't fold them.
Yeah.
You know, you put them in your back pocket and you pull one out and it all comes out. It was like the worst thing, and they sold it to the public as, oh, they'll last longer. You can wash them, you know, and it's like, no, you should keep the old ones, what we can use properly, fold up, put in you can't put these anywhere, but people think they're great because they're not using them anymore. because everybody complained, and they're using their card. But I can't find anybody who really agrees with me that, I mean, I go to the bank, or our bank's shutting down, by the way, our local bank. I've got to go to the post office now. But so I go to the hole in the wall and draw money out, and then I spend the cash. And I go to the person who's in the supermarket.
On the checkout,
not, you know, so my bit, and if everybody did it, then they would soon find out. But they're going to steal your money, and if you look at people's habits, they're going to restrict. They're going to give you a carbon footprint and go, you've ate a pork chop today, and so therefore we've taken 50 points off your 1,000. Maybe. But if you get one of these fake burgers with fake blood and all the crap that has to go in it to make this, then you're going to realize that this is worse than the meat. And it goes on and on and on and on. It
really does. Really does. But that was the whole point, really. I'm sure you'd agree with the scamdemic. That was the precursor, the leading to what we're seeing now, and what they want. Yeah,
and what was all that rubbish about locking people up, jailing people when they come off holiday? I can see a PPI. Is it PPI claim?
I think so.
Like, if you was locked up in jail for a fortnight, then you can claim, and that's what they should do. Because if you let a boat person over, and your citizens are coming over on a plane and they've been on holiday, what's the difference? You let one roam about in the public without having a jab, and you've locked the other one up, and you're charging them. So what's going on?
It's horrendous. People I knew were in like the concentration camp. Oh, sorry, what's it called? You know, where they come from Heathrow, come in, and they go, I can't get out of the hotel. Look, I'm inside. I said, gee.
Yeah, and that's apart from being cruel, that is the first step to that concentration camp. And it's the first step of getting people brainwashed,
manipulating the minds, stage by stage.
You will do as you do. And what's this gun that they point at you on your pineal gland? These people don't realise what they're doing, or the people above them know what they're doing. It's getting you ready to, you know, getting you used to having a gun pointed at you. It's getting you to do as you're told and don't ask questions. So there is a lot going on. I'm sure the tide could be turned if enough people stood still. I mean, I went into lots of restaurants with friends, and I was the only one who wasn't wearing a mask. And the people who owned the restaurants was just compliant, and they would argue with their customers. So it was all this, go to your table with a mask on, sit down, take it off. What's all this rubbish about line up 2 meters away from each other in Heathrow Airport? Oh, and then go and sit next to the person and rub shoulders with them. You've got to have your mask on, unless you eat or drink. It's like Simple Simon said, put your hands on your head. That was in the 70s, I believe.
That's it.
This is no difference, and people are taking this shit, and they believe in it. And they'd got a thing where they was going to kill 11 million cats.
Really?
Yes, because there's this thing about it come from the Wuhan market, and it crossed over from this to that fish market, whatever, and they thought that the cats had got it, but I think the plan was scuppered because that would have been too much. You know, when it comes, never mind about your granny can die without seeing, but don't with my cat. You know, it's that type of thing we've got in England. Really
warped, isn't it? The way they just
they'll probably come. that'll probably come. You know, it's a lull before the storm now, which is and that's one thing after another on the treadmill.
But
Another law,
this is
another
it. They're
law.
supposed to be doing discussions for the digital ID, these 15-minute cities, cashless, but they're quiet, and they go, "Oh, we're bringing it in now. We did a poll, and these people wanted it." Really? Well, why don't you put a vote out to the general public then? Which we know being
Yes.
fixed anyway.
Yeah.
All fixed. It's all fixed, isn't it? Fiddled.
Yeah.
You know. So do you think if Donald Trump gets in next year, he'll start changing things and kicking their ass, or is he part of it?
I don't know. Again, I was the only person in the people that I knew that thought he was all right. Of some of the things he was saying and doing. You know, if you don't want people in your country, and the only way to stop it is to put this metal wall up,
Yeah.
then he was doing something practical, and then they stopped, and they just flooded the place with migrants who don't get the jab, and it's a two-tier.
Apparently, he put the wall up apparently to stop like the child sex traffickers getting in. But
Well, yeah. So I don't know. That's across there, and I think there's a lot of problems that originate from that country. You know, you've only got to look at all the wars and follow the money, and what's
a lot of people don't realise this. As you said earlier, the United Kingdom is a company, United Kingdom Limited. It's on Companies House, you know, as a company with was it Sir James Coates, the Coates banking family as a director, right? And you look at the assets, and it's got 174 countries as its assets, and the United States is one of them.
Right.
So it all comes from here. The Coates banking family, who own Royal Bank of Scotland as well as Coates, are pulling the strings.
Right. Yeah, you see, the further you go and look into these things, the more you learn. But just on the surface of it, there's a lot of people really need to wake up. Just on the surface for a start.
Yeah, but I think they're so used to their convenient lives, like as you say, like with a phone to pay. Boop, there you go, done that.
Yeah.
Like, what if your phone battery goes or you lose your phone? Then what? You're stuffed.
Well, when the cars go, this electric, that you will find that they'll be able to stop all the cars.
Yeah.
And your phones will die, and there'll be control of you.
That's why people need to get ham. That people need to get ham radio. That's what they need.
Yeah, so I would advise anybody that's going to take any car journeys to have a rucksack with water in, change of clothes, some walking shoes, some food, flashlight, knife, different things for survival, because you may have to be walking home, because when all the cars come to a halt that have got this in them, got the electric in them, then you'll be in the shit. You will. So I'd advise anybody to have I've always had a rucksack with stuff in, because in the 90s and mostly in the 90s, I didn't know when I started off from the house whether I'd go to work or go to the airport. Or when I was at work, whether we decide to go to the airport that afternoon, you know, because we had places in abroad, and so it's quite easy, just to go to another house. And so I was ready. Within a minute.
But do you think it's recognizing patterns, behavioral patterns and stuff like that, so you can kind of preempt what's coming?
Well, you know what's coming because they've already told you what's coming, and I'm fed up with telling people to research it. But it's too daft to. I won't say it's too daft to laugh at that people won't give themselves half an hour out their life in a day to research.
Yeah.
It's all put down what's going to happen, you know, and people don't believe that they're going to take your property, they're going to take your money, they're going to take your food, you're going to take your life. They don't believe it.
No, they don't. It's written in the book, The Great Reset. They're even talking about it, and that's why all these leaders are WF puppets, aren't they?
Yeah. So it's there. I hope it doesn't happen, but it's going to happen unless people wake up.
Yeah.
And
but as you said earlier, it's like if they don't feel the pain enough, they won't act. It's like trying to say, look, you can see this is coming. Look at the patterns. You need to act now before the pain really sets in. Then it's going to be 100 times harder to bring it back.
Most people that I talk to want a nice life, an easy life. They don't want to be scared.
Yeah.
They say what I am saying is scaring them.
Yeah.
And the thing is, well, what can I do about it? And when you tell them what you can do about it, they go, yeah, well, that won't work. You know, I'm just one person. I just want it to be nice. I don't want, you know. So if you look at the atrocities that happened in the last World War, in Germany and in Russia and in where my dad was fighting in Burma, there were some dreadful atrocities, and unfortunately, people are people, you know, and survival. It makes people change.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's only a few that's changing the many.
Yeah, which they've been doing for hundreds of years, haven't they?
Yeah.
Like the same people.
Shall we get on to climate change?
Go on then, let's go for it.
I just thought that climate change. Well, how many millions of years has this world been in existence, and how many climate changes have they had? And it's just one of those things. I don't believe there is climate change, and what they're doing is ridiculous. Digging up 200 tons of earth to get one battery, and the battery will only last 8 years, and then you can't recycle it. You know, and I think they're just scaremongering, and then it's to get people into this type of transport that they'll go, oh, we made a mistake, actually, but we can control everything.
Yeah.
And you try and go more than 15 minutes and your car stops or it turns around and goes back, you know. It's all planned.
Yeah.
It is, unfortunately, it's all planned. And they could plan it for a world where everybody was happy. It doesn't have to be everybody angry and everybody fighting.
Yeah.
The war that's going on, that's dragging us into the Third World War, should have never happened, because well, there was no need for it to happen. But you know, you get people egging people on and goading people and doing things that shouldn't do.
Yeah.
What do you expect?
Yeah, but it's funny again. It's the very same people, the TV watchers, the BBC watchers, that believe exactly the rhetoric of what's put out there. You know, they change their profile pics. Like, why are you supporting mass murderers and sex traffickers? What are you on about? Well, just do a 5-minute research and you'll see exactly what's going on. Why are you not worried about the thousands that they've killed Ukrainians in the east of Ukraine over the years? Why is that not mentioned?
Yeah.
The Ukrainians have done that.
And you've got to ask yourself, why is this happening?
Yeah.
Right from the start, and you keep going back. Why?
All the same. It's all the same.
And people don't do it. They see what's on telly, they believe it, and then they start saying things that I can't answer because I know I'd be getting into a row, and I don't want to. So I'm getting more silent now, never before. Because I know that majority of people, 90, maybe 95% of people that are taught, I'm just, what do they call it, pissing in the wind. Yeah. So it's like, and everything you say comes back on yourself.
Yeah. Well, you're having an argument with a telly. You're not having an argument with the human being. You're having an argument with TV.
Yeah. So it's understanding that. It took a long time for me to understand that, unfortunately. And then now we're getting people asking, what do you think? What can I do? You know, I go, well, I'm not telling you. Or how can you prove this? You've always said this. How can you prove it? I go, I'm not even going to go there.
Yeah.
You know, you go and do your research and come back in half an hour and you tell me.
Yeah.
And of course it won't.
Yeah.
Because laziness, complacency, and they don't want to, you know, they've not got that feeling of, I should know, let me find out. Is that right or wrong? Yeah, let's find out. Oh, yeah, well, I looked at it on the BBC and they said, just a minute, I'll tell you what they said. They said, anybody, as opposed to what we're saying, what the government says, has got no, they won't be able to discuss it on the BBC. We don't want to know. Yeah. Even if it's right, we're not having you on here. So free speech is totally gone.
Oh, gone.
You can't.
This is the funny thing. It's like when I felt it years ago when you had like the old school comedians from the 70s and 80s, you know, the old school Bernard Manning and Jim Davison and all that sort of stuff. You know? Yeah. And they just completely, and Benny Hill, because when they got rid of Benny Hill, I mean, that finished him off. You know, they got rid of that. I thought there's something happening here, because why they get rid of that and then to bring this in, it's like changing the way people think and behave.
Well, you used to go to Speaker's Corner in Hyde Park, and they said you can't do that anymore because you might fall off your ladder and break your neck. No, who cares? You know, that'd be a bit, you know, if they fell off it, and that's their problem. But the thing is, you used to go, well, let's go and see the nutters. But you see, out of all the nutters, what you think, you only thought they were nutters because you didn't understand what I was talking about, or you wasn't in their group. But at some point, something clicks, and you go, actually, you just said something, maybe 2 or 3 words, or you know, a sentence, and just said something that actually resonates with me. So it could be right. Yeah. So we have to look at that. But now all of that's gone. You know, you're not allowed to have an opinion. Yeah. Unless you want to change your sex or whatever. Yeah. And then, well, we're all with you. Yeah. Yeah.
That's the whole cancel culture, isn't it? Cancel this out. Cancel Jeremy Clarkson out because he speaks his mind. It's like, well, hold on. We need people like that to speak their mind, you know, to the mass public.
You need people to have different views so that you've got a choice. What if you only went in a supermarket and there was just there's no choice? It was just the supermarket's products.
Yeah. Well, that's what they're doing now, though, aren't they? Because they had like the name brands, and now they own supermarkets, put their brands right next to them with exactly the same labelling, the same containers. Yeah. Everything.
Yeah.
And it's takeover, isn't it?
It should be open-mindedness.
Yeah, it should be
on everything.
Yeah. But just to mention quickly on that climate change, just recently in London, on a death certificate, they've actually put pollution as the cause of death.
Oh,
so
really?
Certificates where they put COVID to like up all the numbers up, which we know is they're now doing it as pollution to warrant extending ULEZ. And
so that will the pollution will stop. Now everybody's going to have to pay £12. Or if you really polluted, £50. It's not that you can't come in, you can, but you've got to pay £50. So what are they going to do with that £50 or those £12? Are they going to put air purifiers in the streets?
Yeah. What, called trees?
That's one of the first things that I said when that child was, well, what a farce. That child was speaking up.
Well, that Greta.
Yeah. She was speaking up and everybody was taking that. I would have said, if I was there, I would have said, go back to school, you silly little girl, you know, because you're not you know, shouldn't be here talking about we're taking your future. What a load of rubbish.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, let's just plant a few more million trees. We'll be all right.
But she's related to the Rothschilds, isn't she? So it's a surprise.
I don't know.
It's a surprise. But you see, they put people in the public eye, don't they, to say, oh, trust me, trust me, trust me.
Yeah.
You know?
And now kids are following her and shouting their mouths off.
Yeah.
They think it's good. And I was told by a young person a few months ago, it was quite a few months ago, they had a little bit of a term on the television saying it was the older generation, the boomers,
Oh.
1950s generation that was ruining. And I go, so you think this was a 17-year-old? Do you think that I am the problem? Where I got a metal water bottle, or a glass water bottle, and I refill that up all the time. You've got a brand new water bottle, a plastic one, and you use that 0 times, and then you get another one out your mum and dad's fridge, and another one. Don't talk to me about I'm the instigator of it.
Yeah. Well, it's the thing, talking to kids, like I say to my kids, said, yeah, when we was young, we had these fizzy drinks, which, was all the rage Corona bottles, and they had a 10p return on the back. We'd go around all our neighbours and say, oh, we'll take them back, we'll take your bottles back. And they loved it, so they didn't have to take them back. And you your 10p to buy your sweets and that. So it's
that's it.
Earn money that way. And the kids go, wow, why don't they do that now? That makes so much sense. Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
But someone's making a lot of money out of plastic water bottles, plastic drinks bottles.
They are. They are.
Yeah. So with your, let's go just on your book slightly. I know we've digressed in a million different areas.
The answer is yes. Yes. What is the question?
Brilliant. So what gave you the idea to write that book? Is it to help others, or just get your journey to help others, or get your journey out there? Sorry?
My wife.
Okay.
The young son hero, because she was never in the forefront. She was always working 18 hours a day at the back.
Yeah.
In the first instance, she was cleaning windows and mixing concrete and painting and decorating, along with all of us, driving the lorry, and all kinds of stuff, loading bricks and doing everything. And then she started the shop. And is
that the clothing shop? The clothing shop, yeah. Yeah,
that was 3 years later. And then and she was the person behind everything that people got, the 5-day week, they didn't work on a Sunday, had the Monday off, because although she worked, the staff didn't, because she said she has a choice, but they don't. It's things like that. We never worked on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, Boxing Day, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, and it was like, and she give all the extra time off and stuff like that, and it was and she looked after the family and the business. Cool. And it was so I wrote the book to tell people actually what she did, so it comes across in the book. I know that because people have said. I just read the reviews, and so that's why I wrote the book, and I spent 3 years writing this book, and then I thought nobody will read it, so I stopped. And a mate of mine who was in the book, Pete, my posh mate, he used to come with his wife for lunch on a Sunday, and he always used to say, have you finished that bloody book, Nev? And I go, no, because I really got, I was frightened really that if I produced this book, I was more than 3/4, so I was 90% done, and then I daredn't do the rest because I thought who wants to listen to me? Who wants to know about my life? And then I thought, actually, he does, because he came in one day and he said, I'll be dead before that book's wrote. And I go, oh, yeah. And he goes, yeah, I've got 3 months to live.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. And that night,
Shit.
oh, it's making me
That's right, yeah.
that night I come back into the office when they'd gone, and I finished it within, I don't know, a month or so. I got it reread by somebody who was better than me, but they didn't never altered the way I said anything. They just corrected some of the spelling, and then got it published. And he was the first person. He came to our house in Switzerland just before the Christmas, and I gave him this book, which was the first book, you know, that got, and he read it, and then he died in the February. Yeah, so we'd just been a week's holiday. We had the best holiday ever, and then 2 days later he died. So if it was just for him, that was I did it for Marilyn, but then he pushed me in that way to do it for him. Yeah. Wow. So yeah, it's always a reason, isn't there?
Yeah, but it shows you though, doesn't it? I mean, you know, many people like yourself call it imposter syndrome, don't they? They don't believe they're worthy of it, or it's good enough, no one's going to like it, and it stops them. That 90%.
I didn't know what imposter syndrome was, but you've just explained it exactly how I wouldn't have known, because I have a lot of people say, I think I've got imposter syndrome, and I've never known what they're talking about. Yeah. But then I looked at it and I thought, actually, we built a business knowing nothing to the biggest independent business in this country. And when we joined this, when we started this business, which was second-hand prams, there was about 2,250 businesses all doing the same thing, not second-hand, but new.
Right.
And then over 34 years, we sold 4 of those businesses as going concerns, and then we sold the last one. We've got 125 full-time staff in one shop, and we've built it to the biggest independent shop in the probably in the world, but definitely in this country. And we sold it for a record price. And I don't think anybody I know nobody's ever got the amount of money that we got for one shop doing that, and I don't think it'll ever be beaten. Right. So, you know, I'm really proud of going from zero. And so therefore the third reason that I wrote the book was to say to people, look, you know, I knew nothing, Marilyn knew nothing, we're just 2 kids who have been brought up in a situation that wasn't the best situation. There we are. That's Marilyn and myself when we was about 6. So there we are. And there are lots of pictures in that book, but it was for the people who haven't got that confidence, saying you can do it, just stick with it. And the people who have got confidence, but they run a business for a year and then they pack it in because they, you know, think everything's against them. And I was saying, I've done that. I've been there. And you can do it, and you can do it. Just believe in yourself and carry on. You know? Yeah. So it's all those reasons, and it's helped about 24,000 startup businesses all over the world. So it's, you know, I'm pretty pleased about that.
That's really phenomenal. That is. So what do you say to people that if they've got family, partners, friends that are, again, really negative and bringing them down, and they really want to aspire, they've got these ideas, they want to go places? I mean, obviously, apart from buying your book, help them on.
Yeah, if you have dreams, follow your dreams. Turn your. I think I'll put that on the first page. Focus your mind on success. Create and follow your dreams. Turn them into goals. You know, and then it says this book's warning. It's got reverse psychology. Just look out for it. So the thing is, you can't take no notice of those people who are dragging you down. Are they with you? Don't tell those negative people your goals. Keep your goals to yourself, because it's
I've experienced that.
They'll only pull you back. You can't do it. You shouldn't do it. You're not built for this. You're not. It's you get people going, don't tell him because he's in business. When you first start a business, you'll be talking about something and you go, oh, I've got a good idea, but I'm not telling you because you're in business. I only exploit it and I'll get no. They think, what kind of people, what kind of mentality of this side I've got who are really, damaging people who really want to get on. And if they get on, they'll pay more tax and they'll help everybody. Yeah. So one of my goals, standing in that dog queue that day, was that I wasn't getting £2 extra a week to feed myself. So I was going to pay £1 million a year in tax so that people like me could have £2. That happened years ago. The most I've paid in 1 year is nearly 12 million. And I've been proud of it. I've been proud because if I'm not paying 2 or 3 or 4 million pounds, then I'm a bit disappointed because, but it kind of, I'm still paying it. But the last 3 years has damper. When you see there's
been squandered,
people being hurt who are here, but then other people are being invited in. And put up in hotels, and there's the two things don't go together, and I believe that everybody should work, should contribute,
definitely,
and if they're not, then they shouldn't join in the party that we should be having.
That's it. Well, some of them have like kid after kid after kid after kid. So, as you said earlier, if you have another kid, you get that extra £2. So if you get an extra kid, you'll get a bigger house. And there's some people that have brand new cars without even working. It's like they know how to play the system.
That's the life and times of Neville Wright, I think.
So
that was going to be the book until I realised what that lady had said to me, and I thought that was more fitting.
So where can people get your book? Do you ship it abroad? Is it shipped abroad to? So I've got a few people from the States that listen in. I don't.
I suppose you get it on listening to it on Audible.
Oh, you can,
If you're abroad, you just miss the pictures out. You do. So you get it on Audible, but you go on Amazon, and the answer is yes. Now, what is the question? Or put Neville Wright in. There is a black guy there. It's called Neville Wright, and he's a bobsleigh guy. So don't get us confused. I've been on the world champion bobsleigh and had an accident, but that's a different matter. So
they'll buy that and go, hold on a minute. I thought I was into business. I'm learning how to bobsleigh.
I did a few years ago in Canada. Anyway, so there we are. It's on Amazon. And,
can I go to your website?
There's a link on the website. There is.
So it's Neville, is it NevilleWright.com? I'll put the link in the show notes.
NevilleWright.com. There's lots of free stuff on there, and there's a bit on conspiracies, but there you are. It talks about mentors and life, and lots of things. Goes through the story of the book. And
good. Do you have like an email list on there that people can join, or?
No. It's just on my Facebook. I've got a Facebook page, and I'm going to start TikTok now. And got the link.
You're going to do a dance? You're going to do one of them dances?
I've tried, but I can't coordinate it. I love those dances. I think they're absolutely brilliant when these kids are all dancing together up and down the steps and all that kind of stuff. I think they're fantastic.
Very creative.
And so it's like coming back to if you love something, then exploit it in a way. If you love it, because people say, I've got no talents, but people have got talents. Everybody is different. And And I say in my new book that every child is different, and every child has got talents that you don't know about. Mm-hmm. And if you judge a fish on how to climb a tree, then it'll be stupid for the rest of its life. And that's how children are. Don't judge a child on what you think it should do. Judge a child on what it wants to do, and how good it is on.
Yeah, especially if they have like dyslexia, autism, ADHD, this sort of stuff. They get judged and put in categories and in boxes. Like no.
Yeah.
Think completely differently, don't they? And it's
You know. And just on, I suppose to end that, you think of immune systems. That do you need something in your body that isn't compatible with your immune system, yet you're being told it is.
Yeah. Oh.
And I hate the amount of children that have had these experiments, and it is an experiment.
Yeah. And the shame is that the parents think they're doing the right thing.
They do. You
know?
And just a bit of looking at what we've done, soon find out that they phoned me 7 times. It's your turn to come out of the jab. I go, okay, just tell me something. Has it been approved? Yes. No, has it been approved? I'm asking you again. Yes. And I asked them so many times until they go, well, no, it's not.
Wow.
It's not been approved. It's only been approved by emergency use only. Because I get people saying to me, yeah, but you get measles and mumps and that. And well, I'm kind of swaying against any injection now. But those probably were researched for 10 or 15 years before there was.
And they still have side effects. They still have the side effects, don't they?
This is what I think. If I was to have my life again, I mean, I had the injections because my mother and father took me, and then I took their kids.
Yeah.
But if I was to have them again, I wouldn't be.
Yeah.
I'd be looking at natural immunity and way of life.
Yeah. But you can say to a doctor, say, how have the human race survived for millions of years prior?
And then all of a sudden, from the 1900s, all of a sudden everybody's having injections,
getting sick and dying.
Yeah, and I can understand before that where their toilets were flowing into the streets.
Yeah.
And they wasn't washing their hands.
Yeah.
But as soon as they put the sewers in, and started having water in your house and soap,
that's it, yeah.
I think that is probably done more health than anything.
They said that with the doctors back then, like the surgeons, because they didn't used to wash their hands. So they cut, the old bone saws, cutting someone's leg off and then going on to someone else, transferring. It's like, what a ridiculous notion. Washing our hands will extend their lives. We'll try it. Oh, look, it has. But they say it's the vaccines that are extending people's lives. No, it's not. It's sanitation. But we know. Right, Neville, that's absolutely fantastic chatting to you. Could do it all day long, could do it all day.
Let's hope you don't get banned.
No, hope not.
I should put this onto my website. So
that's right. Brilliant. And
all
right, Neville, thanks very much for that chat.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
All right.
See you later. Bye-bye. I hope you enjoyed that. I found it phenomenal. I found speaking with Neville absolutely mind-blowing, and a lot of insight there. I hope you can agree. And as he said, his book is there's £1 million worth of knowledge in that book. So if I were you, get that book. And as he said, all the money goes to charity. He doesn't receive 1 penny of that book. All goes to charity. He just wants to help people out and help them excel in life. All right. So the link for the book will be in the show notes. So click on that and order yourself a copy now. Take care, guys. See you soon.